Welcome, good day, magandang araw, maayong hapon sa tanan. It's a pleasure to have you all in this event. Today we are going to be talking about the defenders, specifically environmental defenders in Mindanao. For years, they have been fighting for climate justice in the country's second largest island, which is known for its vast natural resources. So, in observation of the International Day of the World's Indigenous People, and in recognition of their important role in the fight against climate change, the Youth for Climate Justice in Mindanao presents Tigpanalipod, a discussion on the situation of indigenous people and their role in environmental defense in Mindanao. Now, may we call on Attorney Hazel Acero, Project Manager of the Climate Justice Capacity Initiative, or CJCI, to give us the opening remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Hazel Acero. I welcome you all to this webinar entitled Tingpanalipod to Kaguyanganan, a discussion on the situation of indigenous people and their role in environmental defense in Mindanao, hosted by the Youth for Climate Justice in Mindanao. Climate justice is happening now. However, its impacts are not borne equally or fairly between the rich and the poor, men and women, and older and younger generations. Thus came about climate justice, which views the climate crisis on the belief that by working together, we can create a better future.
Our speaker for today is Attorney Romeo Myong Cabarde Jr., Director of Ateneo Public Interest and Legal Advocacy Center, or APILA, which houses the human rights programs and services of Ateneo de Davao University.
And the water resources, no? Nasisira ang mga rivers, syempre ang dagat din kasi eventually it will find its way, ang mga toxins will find its way sa dagat. So ang nakikita namin, malaking kasiraan ang madudulot ng mining sa ancestral domains ng mga katutubo because of the technology being used. Aside from doon, accumulation by dispossession, we also have very strong and very rich na issue on conflict and militarization in Mindanao. This could be resource-based conflicts, yung mga away dahil sa resources. This could include mga trees or mga logs na pinag-aawayan, marami ito sa Surigao, or ang mineral resources, pinag-aawayan. Sa Tampakan, a family of Bilaans there have been massacred back in 2013 or 2012, no? Back in 2013, there was a family, the family, I forgot the name, but there was a family there of IP leaders known to be against the Tampakan mines. They were massacred, no? Pati yung anak nila pinatay, leaving the father alive kasi nagtago siya. Ang natira lang sa bahay nila is yung mag-ina. So they were massacred. 3 of them died. So we cannot afford to to hear mga news na ganyan na namamatay sila because of their defense of their ancestral home, ancestral domain, and eventually their defense of the environment. That the Lumads of Mindanao are dying out of the wars, not of their own making. And I reflected on that, sabi ko nga, oo nga, no? Ang mga lumad, simply because they are there in their ancestral domain, nagiging biktima sila, target actually of the armed conflict. They're not just collateral damage now. They are principally targeted by the armed forces of the country and the rebel groups, principally because they occupy a territory that is rich in natural resources. That's why they are targeted. Marami sa kanila ang namamatay. No? Next is you have to cancel illegally obtained permits for activities within their ancestral domains. Particularly, I'm highlighting yung mga FPIC or permits granted to mining companies na pinapasok sila doon sa kanilang ancestral domain to mine. Wala namang benefit na makukuha ang mga indigenous peoples dyan. Only the 1% royalty fee that they get from the revenues of the mining. 1% na naman yun. And until now, sa dinabi-dabi ng mining na nag-operate sa Pilipinas, wala pang na transfer na royalty fee sa mga mining communities. Ang custodian niyan, ang NCIP. Stop militarization in Lumad territories. Ang nangyayari kasi ngayon, hindi man sila uh, technically militarized, but the encampment, ang mga kampo ng mga military, as they pursue the lawless element and the allegedly the terrorists na sa PPNPA, doon nilalagay sa kanilang mga communities where there are concentrated na mga lumads, nandun din ang mga military with their weapons and with their arsenal. So according to them, according to their assertion, dapat hindi sila mamilitarize ng gobyerno. And of course, end corruption in NCIP. We know very well na i-stop daw yung recognition ng mga fake lumad leaders to secure the FPIC. And particularly ang FPIC dapat daw will follow yung totoong proseso. Kasi the process of FPIC, there are 6 ways by which indigenous people can help promote the environment, promote climate justice, and a secure food security. We know that overall sa globe, the world is composed of 5% lang ang indigenous people. Nevertheless, traditional indigenous territories compass 20% of the world's land surface, and 80% of the planet's biodiversity is found in indigenous people's territory. Kaya marami tayong matutunan from their practices on how to take care of the environment, on how to take care of the common home that we have of planet Earth. First is their traditional agricultural practices are resilient to climate change. Throughout the centuries, indigenous peoples have developed mga agricultural techniques that are adapted to extreme environments. By nature, conservationists ang indigenous people. They conserve and restore forests and natural resources. Indigenous people themselves are connected to nature, and as part of the same ecosystem environment in which they live, they have to protect and conserve the ecosystem. What roles can the indigenous people play? Well, we know that they are traditional conservationists, so we rely on them on how to conserve their nature to mitigate the impact of climate change. As I said earlier, it is natural for them to conserve the nature where they are a part of, because destroying that will mean destroying their home, their life, their environment. The indigenous people are rational users of natural resources. While they may use up a little of the natural resources, they do not use it up to feed the voracious appetite of mga capitalists of the neoliberal market. It's not that, no? They only harvest what they need. They only extract what they need to survive, not a surplusage of it for greed or some other things. Unlike ng mga company that they extract resources, we should learn from the Lumad that they are rational users of natural resources. The Lumads can also help us educate culturally on their IKSP, the indigenous knowledge, systems, and practices. There is so much to learn from the way they treat their environment, the way they protect their waters, from which they derive their water to drink, to bathe, and to clean their houses. Also in terms of planting and taking care of their forest, we can also learn from them. They also partake the role of advocates for human and environmental rights, because advocating for environmental rights is advocating for the sanctity of their life. Kasi sabi nga natin kanina, ang territories ng mga Lumad are so special and so sacred that denying them of their territories, also denying them of their life. So
Thank you so much, Attorney Myong. No, it was really interesting to hear how the Lumads land is associated with their life, and taking this away from them would mean taking away not just land, but their life and culture. So I think that's a very important point to make. This also shows us all the more why we must stand in solidarity with the Lumad struggle. I think it was also important that we discussed how development can be harmful when it's not inclusive and only driven by profit, no? It's not just harmful to our environment, but also to the indigenous people. So this strengthens why we must protect the environment and collaborate with indigenous peoples to do this. So let's hear the response and perspectives from our panel of youth actors from different backgrounds. Now let's hear from our first reactor, Kat Kat Dalon, a Lumad youth from the Obo Manobo tribe and a student leader serving as a part of the UP Diliman University Student Council.
Ganda yung discussion ni Sir Myung. Totoo na ang lupa ay buhay. Para sa aming mga lumad, ang lupa ay buhay. Mahalaga ang role sa lahat ng nakikinig. Malaki ang role ninyo, malaki ang gampanin ninyo sa pagdepensa sa lupang ninuno, sa pakikiisa at pakikilahok sa aming mga panawagan at pagkilos para sa pagdepensa sa lupang ninuno, pagpapanawagan ng karapatan namin sa sariling pagpapasya. Dahil ayun nga, para sa aming mga lumad, ang lupa ay buhay. Para sa lahat ng mga katutubo, ang lupa ay buhay. So kung mawawala ang lupa, mawawala rin ang aming kultura. Mawawala kaming lahat.
Ngayon naman, dumako tayo sa ating next reactor. Siya si Dinah Faye Bagilat Balyeco. She is an indigenous youth and an incoming fourth-year political science student in the University of the Philippines, Diliman.
If you're familiar with Barangay Dipyo, Casibo, Nueva Vizcaya, this is actually the place where the Oceana Gold Mining Corporation is operating. And actually the experiences of the indigenous peoples there, the Ifugaos, are very similar to the experiences of the Lumad here in Mindanao. Kasi nga, very vulnerable sila sa environmental plunder and the effects of irresponsible mining and even illegal logging. And I think women and the youth also have their own rights, no? Na we are also fighting for. We are after their own welfare and well-being. And every time we are fighting for the rights of the IPs, actually we're fighting for women, and we are also fighting for children and the youth, because we know that a lot of women and members of the youth are indigenous peoples. Marami sa kanila ang Ifugao, marami sa kanila ang mga lumad din. Kaya kung gagamitin ng ibang teorya, they are actually being oppressed twice, no? Sa uri at sa kanilang kasarian, sa estado sa pamumuhay. So actually when we are fighting for, or when we're being in solidarity with the indigenous people and fighting for environmental justice, for climate justice, we are actually fighting for so many rights.
Now, let's hear from our third reactor for today's forum, Bren Arato. He is a member of the University of the Philippines Student Catholic Action and a former formation director for applicants. He is also graduating as a journalism student in the University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Karamihan sa negative effects ng mga environmental issues na to, ang yung mga biggest losers natin ay yung mga poor and marginalized. Tapos in this case ng forum natin, which is yung mga indigenous people. Like for example, yung mga indigenous people, because of mining, mga projects na nakakasira ng environment natin, ay nadidisplace sila sa mga ancestral lands nila. And worse, yung iba ay na-exploit para magtrabaho sa mga mines with minimal pay. And also dahil sa mga environmental issues na to, nakaka-affect sa mga livelihoods ng mga tao, especially ng mga indigenous people, ng mga lumad.
At syempre ngayon, nais nating pasalamatan ang ating main speaker at reactors for giving us their time and imparting their experience and knowledge. So we hope na marami tayong natutunan mula sa makulay na talakayan.